Good morning, viewers. I am Dr. Anshu Nair from Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru Government College, Faridabad. Today I am going to talk on the poem Death Be Not Proud, written by John Donne. John Donne was a famous 17th century poet of England. His poetry is full of wit, satire, and conceits. It was called metaphysical poetry. He presents new kinds of situations and arguments in his poems. So here I begin with the poem, Death Be Not Proud. Death, be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow, die not, poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me. Actually, in this poem, what the poet is trying to convey is that most of us are afraid of death. We do not want to face death. We want to keep ourselves away from death. But in fact, the poet says that death is not at all dreadful. It is not at all scary. We should not be afraid of death at all. And he says that death, you should not be proud of yourself. Though some have called thee, means some people say, some people think that you are mighty and dreadful. They consider you to be powerful and scary. For thou art not so. But in fact, this is not the truth. You are neither mighty nor dreadful. You are neither powerful nor scary. For those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow, you think that you can overthrow certain people. You think that you can bring death to some people and thus bringing an end to their lives. But die not, poor death. They do not die. Not yet canst thou kill me. If you intend to kill me right now, you do not have the power to do so. It's not possible for you to do so. You are not that much powerful that you can cause death to anyone at any time. So this is the first stanza, and I once again repeat the lines of the first stanza so that the students can ponder upon it whether everything is clear to them or not. So here I repeat the first stanza. Death, not be proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow, die not, poor death, not yet canst thou kill me. Stanza 2. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be, much pleasure then from thee much more must flow, and soonest our best men with thee do go, rest of their bones and soul's delivery. Here, the poet John Donne says that what is death? Death is just like the picture of rest and sleep. When we take rest or when we sleep, what do? We just lie down straight with our eyes closed. Similar is the picture of death. It is the picture of death. The rest and sleep, they are similar to death. Which but thy pictures be. Much pleasure then from thee much more must flow. Talking to death, the poet says that you are just like rest and sleep. But when you consider yourself too powerful, more powerful than rest and sleep, then you should provide much more pleasure to the people than what rest and sleep do. But it is not so. Rest and sleep provide much more pleasure than the sleep of death. Then how come death says that it is more powerful than anything else? No, it's not like that. And then the poet says, and soonest our best men with thee do go. With death, the best men on the earth, they are the first ones to go with death. Those who are good people, those who are the best men, they face death at early stage. Why? Because death provides rest to their bones and it is soul's delivery for them. Their soul gets free. It gets free from the shackles of body, from the bondage of body, and it gets free. The soul is delivered. The soul sets free, and their bones, the tired bones, they get rest. That is the reason that the best men go soonest with death. Again, I repeat the lines of second stanza. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be, much pleasure then from thee much more must flow. And soonest our best men with thee do go, rest of their bones and soul's delivery. Then in the following stanza, the poet John Donne gives more reasons for death not to feel proud of itself. And the third stanza goes like this. Thou art slave to fate, chance, kings and desperate men, and dost with poison, war and sickness dwell, and poppy or charms can make us sleep as well, and better than thy stroke. Why swellest thou then? One short sleep past, we wake eternally, and death shall be no more. Death, thou shalt die. In the concluding stanza, in this final stanza, the poet says, he tells death that you do not have any reasons to be proud of yourself because you are the slave. You are not the ruler. Don't consider yourself as a ruler or the emperor. No. But you are the slave. And you are the slave to whom? You are the slave to fate. Fate, destiny. If it is not written in somebody's destiny to die, you cannot bring death to any person. Chance is opportunity. If somebody comes to kill someone and does not get the chance, does not get the opportunity, death cannot cause any harm to that person. Kings. If the king's order that this person is to be killed, this person is to be shot dead, this person is to be hanged, then only death will come to that person. And desperate men, the evildoers, the wicked people, they also cause death to certain people. So death itself is not the ruler. Death itself cannot do any harm to anyone, but depends on fate, chance, kings and desperate men, thus proving itself to be the slave, not the ruler. And then the other reason, that death lives in the company of bad people. Bad people means bad companions are there. It does not have good companions. Why? It does with poison, war and sickness dwell. Dwell means lives. It lives with poison, war and sickness. Because these are the things which can cause death to someone. Poison. If a person takes poison intentionally or unintentionally, then death may come to that person. War. Death may come to a person in a warfare. If a person is killed in war, then he will die. And sickness. If a person is bedridden, if a person is sick, then death comes to him. So who are the companions of death? Poison, war and sickness. And none of these is considered to be good. Neither poison, nor war, nor sickness. So the companions of death are bad things. Then poppy or charms can make us sleep as well. What does death do? It just brings sleep to us. Even the intoxicants, the narcotics, poppy, charms, they can also make us sleep. So what is great about death that it can make us sleep? It is nothing great. Even poppy or charms can make us sleep. And better than thy stroke. And the sleep which comes as a result of taking or consuming poppy or charms, that sleep brings greater pleasure. Their stroke is better than the stroke of death. Why swellest thou then? Then what is the reason that you feel so much proud of yourself? Why do you think yourself to be so great? No, you do not have any reason for it. One short sleep past, we wake eternally. These are the last two lines of the poem, and the poet concludes the poem by saying that when death comes to us, we sleep for a short while, And one short sleep, when it is past, we wake eternally. It is eternal awakening for us. Why? Because the soul lives forever. The soul does not die. It is just the death of the upper covering, the body. Therefore, death shall be no more when soul remains awake, when it remains alive throughout life. Death cannot come there. Death cannot harm the soul in any way. And death thou shalt die. That is the end of death itself. Death itself dies. Therefore, death is not a ruler. Death is just a slave. Death lives in the bad company. The stroke of poppy or charms is far better, much better than that of death. And the sleep and rest which we get, which we take, is more pleasure giving, more pleasing than the sleep which is provided by death. Hope the explanation is clear to you. Thank you.